So what is the effect of risk perception on a negotiation? In a prior video, we explained what is risk and what is perception of risk and risk propensity, and we identified the types of risk as being contractual, BATNA, and strategic risk. In this video, however, we're going to talk to you about the effect of risk and how it changes your actions or overall approach to the negotiation. Okay, and first and foremost, we want to address confidence. Okay, so risk has an effect upon your confidence, whether positive or negative, right? That is, if we perceive less risk, we may have greater confidence. If we perceive greater risk, we may have less confidence, right? So either way, right, it can help you or harm you in the negotiation. Now, both of those scenarios I just talked about can actually have positive and negative effects to it. So if I perceive more risk than there actually is, the negative effect would be that I would have be reluctant, right, to pursue a course of action that is otherwise valid, right, that I'm willing to accept the actual amount of risk, but I perceive more risk than there is, so I don't pursue it. Another a benefit to that side of perceiving additional risk would be that I'm more careful, right? That I'm more cautious as I proceed through the negotiation than I otherwise need to be, which can improve quality, all right? On the other side, I perceive far less risk than is actually there. Well, one, that is a scenario that I might not be willing to accept, so I undertake a level of risk that would otherwise be uncomfortable to me. Okay, and in the long run, that will ultimately work out negatively for me, because in the long run, the actual level of risk there of a negative outcome will materialize, right? So more often than I am comfortable with, I will experience the type of risk, the result of the risk, right? I will experience the result that I do not desire. Okay, so that's a negative aspect. A positive aspect is I could be successful. Even though I'm not comfortable with the level of risk, I could, once again, be successful despite that level of risk associated with it. So it'll cause me to do things that otherwise I wouldn't do, that objectively I should do. Okay, there's no reason for me to be that averse to that level of risk, right? So the absence of confidence there can lead to all sorts of counterfactual thinking for the positive or negative, and the abundance of confidence once again can lead to a level of overconfidence, right? That level of confidence that I shouldn't have in the situation. Now, normally that level of confidence is related closely to the concept of self-efficacy. That is, if I believe or have confidence in my own ability to affect the situation at hand, right? That is my level of self-efficacy. Okay, so excessive self-efficacy can lead to overconfidence, lower level of self-efficacy, absence of confidence. Now, there are two general types of self-efficacy. One is distributive, and that is your ability to affect the situation itself, right? The interest at stake, that type of thing. Integrative self-efficacy is more related to my ability to affect the other party, right? To create additional interest together and create additional collective value in the negotiation, right? And then lastly, the concept of risk aversion comes into play because once again, the perception of risk relates entirely to what you're willing to accept, right? And so if I'm highly averse to a level of risk, you'll start to see some of the tendencies we talked about. And if I am not averse to a given level of risk, but I would be averse to a higher level of risk, once again, it can be an underappreciation there. So the concept of risk aversion plays in there throughout the entirety of the process. But the important thing to remember here is that risk does have an important effect on negotiation, and it's generally its effect on the individual and the level of confidence they have in their thoughts, in their decision making, and in the actions that they undertake.